Good evening. This is StrangeLove, and I'm your host, Cami Kaos. Welcome, babies. Welcome to another edition of StrangeLove Live Tech. I'm Cami Kaos, and as always, I'm joined by Dr. Normal.
Hello.
And this week's special guest is Chris O'Rourke.
Hey. Why, hello there.
How you doing, Chris?
I am totally happy right now. Very comfortable environment and an empty Scotch glass.
We'd like to have happy guests, but just not too happy.
Too late. I'm perfectly happy.
Darn it. So tonight, for the Tech Edition, we're going to talk about all things WordPress related.
Excellent.
So why don't you tell the uninitiated what WordPress is?
It's the best damn blogging platform ever.
Does it give you wings?
Verbally, yes. If you install the podcasting plugin.
Which we're getting ready to do for StrangeLove.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's actually installed by default, I think, in the 2.7 release.
Well, the 2.7 release isn't out yet.
The beta is.
Oh, and I suppose that you have the beta.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Any developer has the beta running.
So let's talk about the 2.7. I saw the presentation on it at WordCamp.
Oh, yeah. They've made a huge number of fixes and a huge number of changes since the release of the earliest nightly build.
I'm most excited about the batch edit of the tags, not the tags, but the...
Categories?
Categories, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited about that. I can't wait to fix, years of blog posts from my former site.
Yeah, I'm actually in the middle of redesigning my own personal site. Well, it's actually my business and personal site, but CDC Studios. .com.
Thank you.
That was like Sesame Street, back and forth. No, because the new design's actually I'm trying to pare down to just 4 main categories that are displayed via tabs on the front page. And because I'll pretty much add a new category for almost any dialed down infinite little tiny detail on some of my posts. I've got about 300 categories now. Mm-hmm. And with batch edit, it'll be really nice to get it down to maybe 10.
That's what I'm looking at doing as well. I was sitting there and, oh yeah, that's nice. Batch edit. Oh my God. That's going to be fantastic. I'm not going to try to fix anything until I get 2.7.
Yeah, it's really nice that this release, they kind of started to get away from constantly adding new features. It was really starting to get feature creep and pretty much turn into any other bloatware open source app out there. And I apologize to any open source developers. I just deeply offended, but it's true. It's nice that they're actually making things that are more useful for facilitating order and just making it easier to continually blog. So the feature I'm most excited about is the one-click install of plugins, though. That one's... I can't tell you how many times I've been on the road somewhere and somebody's like, oh my God, you have to try this new plugin. And I was like, oh, okay. Let me get to where I have FTP.
So you no longer will have to download and then install?
Yep.
That is nice. That was very irritating.
Oh, yeah. It's a snap, too. You just go through the wordpress.org/extend/plugins, find which we want, click install.
That is really nice because the way I look at it, I can't understand how someone winds up with like 20 plugins on their site. Because for me, I really have to want it to go to the trouble of getting it.
Well, doing WordPress development and plugin development, I have a lot of clients that I'm constantly, much like the presentation I gave at WordCamp a few weeks ago. I basically have at all times, especially since was it 2.3 or 2.6 that added the plugin upgrade?
I don't know.
I can't remember. But... it's a really fast way. Anytime you see your plugins, like, oh, this one needs updated. But now I just keep a short single folder called plugins that's got right now about 37 plugins in it.
That's a lot of plugins.
It's a huge number of plugins. For me, I have a few friends that have over 150 plugins running at once. I don't know how they do it.
So how many plugins do you think the average user should be running?
I would say... In total humility, the 13 I identified in my post during WordCamp that I gave my presentation on.
Which is like the third post down on his CDC Studios site.
I believe that is correct. And it's also easily found if you just use the search function.
Yeah, it is.
which that's another big change. They tightened up the search functions to where...
I like the search function.
Well, it used to be in earlier versions, it would only search posts.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's actually getting to the point where it's searching both posts and pages.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, I think that's 2 or 3 releases ago. And then, major releases, not just bug fixes.
Yeah.
But the next biggest thing is the fact that they've actually tightened up the indexing that the database does to give you an even greater number of results. Or I should say, greater accuracy of results when searching.
So let me ask you a question. This is when I use StrangeLove Live for my devious needs. Say you had a WordPress site and you used it for something like, I don't know, posting your show. And you had posts that went up with the show, but say on one of the pages, you'd really like to give somebody, like, I don't know, the producer, your husband, the guy you're shacking up with, a page where he could make posts, but you don't want his posts on the front page. Is there a way to easily make a page a blog in and of itself?
There are, I can't think of the name of the plugin, but there's a plugin that specifically, I think it's Matt's Asides or Mike's Asides, something like that.
If it was Mike's Asides, it would be absolutely perfect for my needs.
Yeah. To better answer your question, though, I would assume that this is completely hypothetical because
it is hypothetical.
My wife wouldn't understand if I shacked up with a guy because that's exactly how you phrased the question. And
yeah.
That would be, there'd be a lot of explaining to do.
There would be a lot of explaining to do.
No, it's the Asides plugin. I really wish I could remember the name.
Mm-hmm.
It's just called Asides. I'm about to put a link in the chat room for you.
Excellent. Yes,
Thank you,
it is
sweetie.
Asides.
For anyone who's wondering, Versa is joining us as the studio audience this evening.
Yes, she's an audience of
And so,
1,000.
and so that would make it then easy for me to give him what he wants in WordPress land.
You beat me to that joke.
I know. Okay, so there's one really good question answered. So you, in your presentation at WordCamp, you highlighted the top 10 plugins that people should be using, and then you had some honorable mentions.
Yes, there were actually 13 that were actually part of the main presentation.
Mm-hmm.
One of them isn't going to be a huge requirement right out of the gate because I can't remember the name of the company that Automatic just bought that actually handles comment management.
Constant comment?
Something like that. It's either Constant Comment or is it I thought it started with an I.
So let me ask, why would you need a plugin to deal with your comments?
Well, I'm relatively lucky because I only get 15 to 30 comments a week, whereas I know Aaron Hockley on anotherblogger.com has, I think he gets something on the order of like 200 to 400 a week.
That's a popular man.
That's because he's incredibly focused on making sure everybody knows exactly what he's talking about.
It's because he's an internet whore.
Well, I wasn't going to go there. That's kind of horning in on Kveton and Tarosi's territory there.
That's true. But he could give them a run for their money.
They're like the Three Musketeers of net whoring.
In Portland.
Absolutely. Well, I think they're almost growing. They're getting up there with...
They are growing past the Portland internet
market.
Goodness.
They're moving in on the Raven Zachary level.
So, yes, Raven Zachary shows up all over the internet. Okay, so why do you use a plugin for your comments to manage them?
The plugin comment plugin I'm using, I talk good, is called Discuss, and it's spelled DISQUS. So it looks more like it's discus, but it actually archives all of your comments externally on their servers, and it treats each comment thread as a forum post, which that gives you extra links because every single one of those comments links back to your site, as well as it supports a ranking system. Uses threaded comments, so you can vote up and vote down any of the comments, or anyone can. It also has one-click video commenting.
I've seen that you have video commenting, and I've often toyed with it. We have a question.
The chat room, this is Verso. The chat room would like to know, yes, here's the exact quote from the chat room. Yes, offload your comments to Disqus. Then you can't control it. Tell me why this is awesome.
Thank you. That was my question. Thank
Actually,
you,
it's
chat room.
not offloaded as of the revision they released in August.
Really?
All of your comments are still on your site. It just makes an additional archived backup.
It copies them.
Absolutely.
And why is this necessary?
If you've ever
Aside from having video comments, which could be cool, and you can expect one from me at some point.
Right now, WordPress is the full release version is at 2.6.3. And earlier this week, people started seeing an update notice in their dashboard that said, please upgrade to 2.6.4, which isn't actually real. It was just a Trojan horse, and that gave people access to your full database. And once they had access to their database, they could delete everything. And if you aren't really, really good about making database backups, and most users aren't, those get wiped out, you lose everything. Which, there's a fantastic plugin that I also covered. It's called DB Manager. And all it does is optimize, repair, clean, and automate the database backups. And you can have it sent to your email. Like, for example, I have something...
Note to self. Reread the Chris O'Rourke 13 plugins post.
Some guy in Britain says that this chav that seems to think that he knows what's right for plugins, and I think he is. And, you know, it's in reference to me, and I'm kind of honored to be considered a British chav, even though I know exactly what that means, which it's better than being called a piker. It's the plugins. I spent a really, really long 45 minutes coming up with my presentation. And that's actually complete sarcasm. It's actually the plugins I use. I've kind of been honing the list down to just the core things that I believe every WordPress plugin list should contain. And you may not need some of them, but you'll get some good use out of all of them without actually having to worry about hitting a point where you've got too many plugins or none of them serve a useful purpose.
Was the iPhone plugin on that list?
Which iPhone plugin? There's the W Phone that allows you to manage the back end. And then
No. The one that makes it show up more user-friendly. The posts to show up when you're reading on your iPhone.
Ah, the theme. That one, it really depends on the focus of, and I consider it a must on my personal site. It does actually show up better on Windows mobile devices. Blackberries, no matter what you do, your browser is always going to look like crap. But the W Phone theme is...
Is that what it is? Because it's a plugin. It's not just a theme.
Right. They work in concert.
The one that I use is called WP Touch, and it's by Brave New Code.
That's the one I used on the StrangeLove site.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic one as well.
Yeah.
That was the one I liked when I first looked at the WordPress sites, and I saw the. I think the first one I saw was RPDX, but I'm not sure. And I was like, "Oh, look! It comes up in my."
I think
iPhone
it may have been
differently.
Verso's actually.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It could have been hers.
It was.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. I was like, "This is cool," and that coupled with the OpenID plugin was pretty sweet.
I think it's the reason that Dr. Normal supported my desire to move all of our sites to WordPress.
So here's a question. Here's a WordPress question that we're trying to solve right now, and that is that so we were talking about pulling some sort of like customized feeds off of different content that's on the entire WordPress site. So you have different tabs.
Are you talking about the Dr.
frames.
Normal page?
Yeah.
We already covered this.
You did.
Well, actually, if you can pull feeds of a specific category.
Exactly.
And it's I could be way off base on this, and I'm guessing anyone who has ready instant access to a computer that's watching right now is probably going to
I don't
verbally
think
slap
people
me.
actually watch us on the computer. That would be silly.
I believe it's just category / XML RPC.RSS or something.
Because now you're confusing me. I was proud of myself when I figured out that I could put RSS feeds on the sidebars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was my pride and joy.
Yeah, that's pretty helpful.
Especially when you put your own RSS feed on your sidebar.
Yeah.
Recursion's a wonderful thing.
I like the who's talking about us RSS link.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Is there any integration with because a lot of people are using Yahoo Pipes to pull out customized data? Is there any integration like through Pipes, or do Pipes create an RSS feed that you can then put into WordPress?
Oh, absolutely. Anything on the sidebar that'll actually, like the RSS block that will take a specific link, you can absolutely put Yahoo Pipes in there. So
interesting.
And I'm pretty sure there were a couple of people at WordCamp that were actually working on an actual back-end Pipes plugin. So
I seem to recall some discussion of that. I think we have another question.
Actually, what we have is a tip from the chat room from Aaron Hockley, which is you can add /feed to the end of any WordPress URL to get a feed of that specific page or category or whatever you're looking for.
But don't the pages just show up? I mean, it doesn't actually change.
Well, it depends on what that page is. So if you were, say, using asides, created a page so that the doctor was doing his own posts, and somebody wanted to subscribe to the Doctor Says, then they would be able to put /feed at the end of the URL that gives you just his stuff, and then subscribe to that.
But that would be
very handy.
But that would be still on the main page, not on a sub page.
Well, when you add it to the URL, you're doing that to put it in your reader. So
we'll discuss this later.
Okay. But that is, I think that's a really great tip, and that's one of the things I really like about WordPress is if people really want to read, for example, just posts about Doctor Who, or just the posts that aren't Doctor Who, and I know there's probably one person who, at least one person.
Twitter could learn from that, because I know several people who would like to weed out comments about certain topics.
Yes.
Okay.
It's true.
So being able to do that with your blog is really handy, and being able to subscribe to a feed of just a particular thing. If somebody just wants to see the posts where you actually put up the show, for example, or something like that, they would be able to get that information out of the blog very easily.
I think I'm going to be stealing you for a Saturday again or so for some
We can do that.
WordPress tutelage.
That's awesome.
So what's the coolest thing going on WordPress right now? I mean, obviously you covered a lot of things, but what's got you jazzed, or what's coming up that's got you jazzed?
About 3 years ago, the folks at Automatic hired and sort of forced a few graphic designers to work on a project called Shuttle that was going to be a complete back-end redesign to optimize and just make the back-end dashboard look and function beautifully. And everybody was really excited, and then recently when they switched to the back end into the new dashboard, everybody was really, really underwhelmed because the concept art was beautiful, and then they apparently completely threw that away, crumpled it up, and stuck in a litter box and gave us the crap that the last three
that
installs.
Is currently the...
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. And so many people have released admin themes, plugins that are just specifically to make things usable.
I considered installing one, but isn't 2.7 going to change all that? 2.7
goes above and beyond the Shuttle design. The concept art that I've seen that they still haven't quite finished working into things is phenomenal. It makes one page, you can do almost anything you need to. And the stuff that you can't loads a lot quicker, because I can't tell you how many times I've gone to, I'll just tweak a widget. Like click.
6 years later.
Yeah. And it's like, wow, I really wish I had an obscenely 200 megabit internet connection, but sadly I don't. So
yeah, a lot of the stuff that needs to be done on my sites right now, I'm just kind of waiting until the 2.7 upgrade so that I can do it more effectively and not have to change something again once I've updated.
Yeah, it's a shame that the 2.7 betas aren't quite as stable as they could be. I haven't had the problem from the beta 1 to beta 2 switch, but I've got a few friends they've had to completely just hose every single file, reinstall, and then migrate stuff back in, which is not fun.
And it's releasing this month, right?
Possibly.
Well,
the original release date was November 10th, and it's been bumped at least 2 weeks. Yeah. So I'm guessing if it's like any other major revision release, probably November 27th to December 4th range.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were planning on going to the update party on Monday at CubeSpace, we're not going to have that.
You can show up at CubeSpace. I'm sure they'd love to have you there, but, well, no one else will be there.
There will be no keg. There will be no food. There will be no party. There will be no Chris O'Rourke.
So you talked about how many plugins, kind of a good best practices as to how many plugins you should run on your site. What about just optimization in general? I mean, it seems like, you see new WordPress blogs. I know I've hit a couple sites. The first time you hit them, they're just like so slow, and then someone goes in and optimizes them. Can you kind of, what do you do, or what do you do on the back end to optimize plugins, especially if you're really plugin happy and customization happy, and you want those features on your site?
That's always the balancing point. You have to find the border between what functionality do I need and what's the main focus of the blog. Is it in the case of StrangeLove Live, definitely podcasting, definitely some sort of comment management would be phenomenal. So
no, we don't get comments.
Well, that's a problem.
It is a problem. No one loves it.
We don't need no comments.
Comments? We don't need no stinking
We have a
comments.
chat room.
Yeah, we read the chat room and we consider those our comments. But, if you wanted to comment, we wouldn't cry.
We'll see. Look, I can't see it because she's hogging the laptop over there, and I want to know what people are saying, making fun of me.
We like to keep the guests in the dark as to the chat room.
Makes for a better show.
Is that why I got led down here in a blindfold?
Yes,
that's right.
with a sack over your head.
That's right.
The waterboarding was great.
I'm glad you enjoyed that. I enjoyed it as well.
No, the plugins, even if you hit a point where you've got 60 plugins, to a certain extent, the speed of your blog is always going to be dependent on your host.
60. Jeez, I have 2.
I have 17 right now.
Oh my goodness, 60 plugins. Okay, continue. Sorry, I'm over the shock.
It's some plugins won't play well with others, which WordPress.org has a fantastic compatibility list that will tell you, don't put these two together or your blog will die.
I need to remember to read that.
Yes, if you're not going to WordPress.org, you're not doing it right.
I go and read the codex.
The codex is divine, and especially if you like WordPress and you're not ever anticipating updating the codex, change that.
The codex could really use some assistance, and even if it's something that is very easy, if you see something that needs an update, it's really an easy thing to change. And Laurel Van Vossen from Laurel on WordPress, of Fairy Blog Mother at WordCamp fame, heart attack instigator from what I understand.
There were some scared people.
Yeah, well, you can understand why.
It was scary.
She's sort of leading a campaign, and I know that Portland can completely ride to the rescue of the codex and really make sure it's updated and current. And I know there's enough people here who, if everybody listening went to the codex and made one edit and made one page, one typo better, or one the right to or the right there better, then angels will sing it's a better place. That is change we can believe in.
I have a dumb question.
Oh, yay, dumb question. Yay for a dumb question. Yes, let's have a dumb question.
Codec, and I don't think it's
Codex.
spelled. Yeah, codex. It's not spelled the same way, but it means something totally different to me. What does codex stand for?
I believe it is Latin for, it's about the same as encyclopedia.
I was thinking library, but yeah.
But isn't it just a plugin for
It's
WordPress?
No, it's not a plugin.
It's
a wiki.
Exactly.
It is. It's a wiki, but
Then why don't they call it a wiki?
Because it's not a wiki, it's a codex.
Oh,
duh.
I see.
Blame Matt Mullenweg.
Yes,
because he's different that way.
Damn
Gotcha.
Matt.
Okay,
Not really.
But you can actually go up there.
Anybody can.
And read about.
I wouldn't advise the Dr. Normal do it though. He's not very familiar with
plugins
WordPress
that do not play nice to each other.
Yeah, there's a compatibility list that's updated for every major revision that would change that.
Yeah, I think actually I was looking at a podcast plugin just last night, just reading about it, and there were some, you don't run it with this or don't run it with this update, or So that's helpful.
Oh, yeah. I think there's 2 major level plugin developers that you can rest assured their plugins will always play well with others. And that's Alex King, who I believe is in Denver. I could be completely...
Hello, Alex King.
And the other, of course, is ViperBond007, who's strangely also named Alex. And he's written, I'd say, 7 of the greatest plugins that I think 2 of the plugins on my list were written by him.
What do you think of the OpenID plugin written by
Will Norris?
Will Norris, thank you. He was at WordPress. I'm not crazy. He was at WordCamp.
Yes, he was.
He was. He's in one of the tattoo photos with.
I was going to say, didn't you have a picture taken with him? Yeah. So
my brain is
either you are crazy or you're not crazy.
No, there was a tattoo photo of Will Norris and Verso and I. So he was there. I have photographic evidence. What do you think of the WordPress plugin?
I love it. I think more people need to understand and embrace OpenID. It's one of those things.
That's one of the 2 plugins I'm running.
You should also
on both of the sites.
You should also add Discuss then for comment management and try to get people to start commenting on your site.
I get people to comment. CamiKaos.com gets comments. With StrangeLove Live, we very rarely get comments there.
Oh, don't worry. When I get home, I'll just comment whore.
Sweet. Actually, that's not true. I get like 5-6 comments a day on the StrangeLove Live site, but it's all porn. It's all porn spam.
Seriously?
Yes. Seriously.
She tells me nothing.
I have to put them all in the spam file, which I love because I can just mark them as spam. But
those are all actually caused by Aaron Hockley. A lot of people don't know that.
No, it's him and his damn train porn.
Lol trains.
The nice thing about Discuss is it actually uses OpenID as well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, and being able to use OpenID, I mean, 3 years ago, I tried to keep in my brain at least 60 different passwords, ranging from like tree spelled with 3s instead of E's would be like, this is a throwaway site, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like CNET, I didn't care. It's not like, oh no, people are going to be able to comment as me.
You have that one notepad text file on your desktop that has ZDNet login, CNET login, this login, that login. Oh my God. All right here. Yeah.
Except on my Mac, I use 1Password, which also runs on my iPhone.
And what is that password?
It's I'll actually tell you, it's Cami doesn't get to know my password.
Chris O'Rourke.
And it's written in Leet speak. So good luck. No, it's I mean, nowadays with OpenID, I mean, pretty much everywhere I comment, whether I'm being snarky on various comment forums about layoffs or being snarky about the recent election on Yahoo Buzz. I mean, anywhere I can use OpenID, I will. Mm-hmm. Strangely, I actually am using the sort of working Yahoo OpenID that they're beta testing and breaking horribly. Not as bad as Google, because I know I'm probably now getting tons and tons of people like, no, Google's doing it right. No.
Hate mail for Chris at work. Well, Chris, it has been lovely to talk to you about all this lovely techie WordPressy stuff.
Excellent.
But the tech talk is over.
Excellent. I don't have to talk about... See, if I don't talk about WordPress, then Verso and Laurel, they beat me with mallets.
I understand. Thank you all for joining us. Come back next week when we'll have a nice recap of Ignite Portland 4 for you. Good night, everybody.